there's no enemy that will come and attack you there. But you still not feeling good because you don't have freedom now. You cannot go anywhere. You cannot travel anywhere like the way you want it. And you are confined. You are sitting in the jail, actually. And you are confined there, you cannot do much. And the thing I didn't like in all both camp is, when will I go back to my country and meet with my family? That thing never get away in my head until I went back in 2005, in 2002, when I went and see my father. That's where things were. But people were friendly, but we didn't have great access to stay with this community because we were isolated in our own camp. And these are the thing that I didn't like. I need to go back home. I don't want to sit in the camp, because camp is nothing. Completely. Nothing in camp. Thank you.
How old were you when you went to the U.S., when you came to the U.S.?
I was 20. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, so our students, after they finish the book, they explore what a day in the life of Mia would be like now that she doesn't have to travel to get water. And now they're curious, what does Salva like to do when he's in Sudan?
When the girls and the ladies could not travel for that distance anymore, there are a lot to do. The girls get opportunity to go to school when they are lucky for a school. It's not every well that has a school. As some of the don't have a school, but the community is still drinking that. And when the woman could not have that much time to travel again, now you have to do extra little business to be able to support your family. And you can do extra work in your household, something that is good to support your family, because you reduce that time. And the girls now are getting an opportunity to go to school.
So the second part was, what do you like to do when you're in South Sudan?
Oh, myself, okay, I'm a farmer. I love farming. And anytime that I'm in South Sudan, I'm always in the field. Sweat all the time, growing onions and cabbage and trees. I have 100 mangoes trees. I have 100 bananas, and I have few pineapples and avocados. Just plant them. Yeah, I get busy there doing things. Yeah.
How do you water the plants?
I have a dripping irrigation system there. I put there, and this is how I water. Then sometimes I just take a hose and then water them. And all this. In South Sudan, we have 2 seasons only. We have rainy season that it rains and people cultivate the sorghums, peanuts, and other things that they need to. And then in dry season, nothing. Everything all dry up. And you have to rely on irrigation and doing something. This is how we do it. Thank you. Of course, yes.
Me?
Yes, please.
So how long does the well, once you build it, how long does it last?
Very
Before you
good
have to
question.
rebuild it?
Our first well that we put down in 2005, correctly, is still operating up to today. And you know, the well to be functional, to last that long, you need to make sure you empower these people. You give it to this community, they own it, and train them how they will sustain that well. And making sure when you drill it, you hit the right water table that will not dry. And when you do that, it lasts. We go back to our well to see what happened, because whatever you do, you need to evaluate it and see how it's functioning. Is it helpful? Is it not helpful? Is it doing what? And when we go back, some years back, we find out that we were not mixing cement really in the well. And the platform that we're putting around was crumbling. And then we came up with a new idea. We said, no. We're not doing right. But the well are still working fine. The water is still coming out. And then we came up with a rehab team. And then we rehab those wells to make sure they're fine. And they still last, the first well that we put down in 2005 up to today is still operating up to now. That means they still have a life long to go. We haven't had a well that has been dry up or gone for good yet. And we're still monitoring it. Thank you, good question.
Can you explain, like, in a very general sense, how you find water and how you get a well?
Thank you. In South Sudan, we have so many villages. And when we decide to go to a state or county, like when we were in Will County, we said, we have only 2 wells, and you have 30 villages, but we cannot choose to say this village get a well and this village doesn't get a well, because it would be a conflict of interest. They would say that why you favor this village and not us. And we said, okay, 30 villages with your chief, you go and sit and see who get the well, and we are out. We let them do their own, and then they come back to us and say, Mr. X and X, they get the well, and we say, okay, now it's time to do assessment. Let's go to your village. And then we go to the village and then do assess. And most of the time they want it to be put in the center of the village. And then if the water is not there, then we say, well, the water is not there. We have to find wherever the water is. And then we do survey, and the way we do the divine right doesn't work that much. No, those things, no, they are not alive. And we very much use a landscape. How the landscape is looking for sausage trees. You guys know sausage tree? It's called ral. Yeah, ral is that's where the real water table is. When you find them, they line up. And when you look at the termite hills, when all these termites hill mount up, and you can look at the soil and the sand around that, it would tell you exactly the quantity of water which is there. And there's some areas when you find, I don't know how you guys call this, pink, right?
Yeah.
How do you call it? It's called acacia or something?
I think
Yeah.
When you find acacia, don't drill a well there next to it. You will drill nothing. There's no water in that ground. Stay away from that, especially the red one. Arabic acacia down. Yeah, this is how we find the well. And then we come in, when we find it, we say, guys, community, this is what the water, this is where the water is. And then when we do it, we train them. That's very, 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 very important. To make sure the community has someone that could fix that well. We involve them early, and then we train them. But now, who is going to pay that person that was taking care of the well? Water for South Sudan will not pay it. The community get in and collect whatever they need to collect and be able to pay that person. If they have a spare part they need, then they have to go and look for a spare part they need. And then you empower them. And when they have that, when you connect them with that system for the ownership, and now they are responsible and all this, they all do it all the time because they knew very well that if the well broke down, what happened is this. 2 things, major disaster happen if they don't maintain it. The children when everyone go and drink the bad water, and already their immune system get to clean drinking water, many people get sick. And they need to make sure their well is sustained. Second, it will cause migration to go to other area that has well or has water pond, for example, which is a big, big, big problem in South Sudan. You see a lot of tribal always fighting. Most of the fight happen in the water area. Like you know that Doc, you know in Agar when people go to touch, people fight with Nuer, and all this just because of that water. And when you have these people, they have their own well and they are stable in their own community, it makes them stable and make them proud and make them something that stability come in and they just thrive. Because you cannot thrive, you cannot have a development, then just you keep moving all the time without a stability place. Kids will not be able to go to school. You will not have a permanent place to store your stuff, your food or something like that. And this is how they do it, and it's always working. So far, those wells are only for domestic use now so far. We haven't get to this big irrigation like what you guys have here yet.